So let's talk about what a fire is and how we prevent one. Let's talk about fighting the fire. So you have to put on your gloves, put on your dukes to fight to fight a fire. That's the very first thing you should have. You should have a pair of gloves to fight a fire. You should also have goggles, whenever possible, a dust mask or something like that to keep the smoke from out of your eyes and your mouth. If at all possible, some kind of helmet to keep falling debris from hitting you in the head, and some good sturdy work boots. One of the most important things about fighting a fire is most of us don't have a big red S on our chest. I don't. Neither do you. You are not Superman. You will burn. You will catch fire just like anything else. So we never want to fight a fire alone. We always, if you have to fight a fire, you want to work with a buddy. That buddy is in charge of, you are in charge of fighting a fire. That buddy is in charge of your safety. Okay? So you have that buddy to look for danger, act as your backup if you should get hurt, and to protect your safety at all times. You also should always have a backup whenever possible. So in other words, it would be nice to have 3 people. 2 who are going in to fight the fire, and 1 to stand outside. So it's always the best to go fight fires if you're going to do it in groups of 3. Before you go into a place with a fire, you want to check before entering. So you want to make sure, let's say you're going into a home that you see smoke coming out of, and you want to, before you open a door, what should you do? Feel the door. Feel the door and see if it's hot. If it's hot, then we don't want to go in there because obviously there's a raging fire. Do not open a hot door. You open the door, suddenly that oxygen rushes in, and then boom, you could have an explosion, an explosive reaction. So do not go into a door that's closed, especially if it's hot. So before you ever go in, you have to plan how to get out. So if you're going into a place to fight the fire, you need to know your quickest exit route to go out as you're fighting that fire. Better yet, have 2 ways to get out as you're fighting that fire. So let's say you're going to your next door neighbor's house and you see a little bit of smoke coming from one of the bedrooms. You know that your neighbor has gone away for the weekend. You would go in, go through the front door, you and your buddy with 1 person standing outside. You would go in and see a little bit of smoke. As you go to the bedroom door is slightly ajar. Your exit strategy would be, okay, we're coming right out the door we went in, but there's a side door I know in this house. And that is our secondary exit. Should things not work out the way we want to, we're going out of that door. So you enter the bedroom, you find a small smoldering fire in the corner caused by a small electrical fire. They had one of those rat's nests of electrical wires all plugged in, things plugged in behind their TV. And because of a surge in electricity, that has been smoldering and it's just a small fire. You and your buddy use the fire extinguisher and you put that out as good as you possibly can. Tossing it over, making sure you got it really well. As you leave that room, you want to close that door. You want to close and isolate that fire. So if it does catch fire again, it will hopefully stay just in that room and not build and consume the rest of the house. So whenever also you want to maintain a safe distance from the fire and a safe position. That safe distance is just shy, no more than half the distance of the length of the effective range of your fire extinguisher. So if you have a dry chemical fire extinguisher, that's somewhere around 10 feet. You don't want to get any closer than 10 feet to your fire. And the proper position is bent over like Groucho Marx. And why is that? Because all the smoke will be up here and all the good air is down there. And so you want to go in crouched over and staying out of the smoke. And the last word we're going to have about this is, or I should say the second to last word on this is, only put out small fires. Your fire extinguisher, if it's a dry chemical one like most of us have in our house, will only last for about 20 seconds. That 20 seconds will only allow you to put out a fire about the size of a standard trash can. Okay? So if you took a round metal trash can, like this, filled it with flammable material, set it on fire, using the dry chemical fire extinguisher, That's about the size of fire it will put out. Any larger than that, it's too large for you. Take that red ass off your chest, leave immediately, closing doors behind you, and realize that you've done the very best. The last thing that you want to do is you want to, what the firemen call overhaul the fire. You want to take that bucket that's full with flammable stuff and tilt it over. You don't want to leave any burning small embers at the bottom. Spray them again with the chemical, with the fire extinguisher. Make sure they are truly all the way out. Turn the things over so that there are no burning embers when you leave. A couple last things on how to fight a fire. One is the mnemonic. Remember I told you about how to mitigate fires, and that was lies, limit, isolate, eliminate, and separate the chemicals so that you don't, you help mitigate the fire. The last one that I'm going to share with you is called pass. And that's how you use a fire extinguisher. Every fire extinguisher has on it a little metal ring or plastic ring that keeps the handle from being a little plastic thing that keeps the trigger from activating the fire extinguisher. Fire extinguisher has the body and it has the hose next to it. You would see one right here if I remembered to bring one, but I didn't, but there'll be a picture now. So you pull that pin, and that's the first P in pass. For a fire, you're going to pass a fire. You're going to pull the pin. Okay? Then you're going to aim the hose at the fire. So you pull the pin, you aim the hose, then you squeeze the trigger. When you squeeze the trigger, the powder will come out, or the water, or whatever you're using, out of the thing, out of the end of the hose, and then you sweep from side to side, starting from above where the fire is to below where the fire is. So that again, that mnemonic is pass. Pull the pin, aim the hose, squeeze the trigger, and sweep side to side. And I have another little a flow chart on how to fight a fire. On kind of, can you do it or should you do it? And you need to ask these questions. If you answer each of these questions yes, then you should fight the fire. If you answer any of them no, you should leave quickly. First question you should ask yourself, can I escape quickly and safely from the area if I attempt to extinguish the fire? Yes? Then we move on to the next one. Do I have the right type of extinguisher? Is the extinguisher large enough for the fire? Remember I told you a standard 3 or 4 pound fire extinguisher will only put out the size of a trash can. So is it big enough? The fourth one is the area free from other dangers such as hazardous materials and falling debris? If the answer is yes, then you can fight the fire. If you can't answer each one of those yes, can I get in and out safely? Do I have the right type of extinguisher? Is an extinguisher large enough to fight the fire? And is it free from other dangers and falling debris? Then you go ahead and fight that small fire. If not, you leave the area immediately. If you learn the basics of how fires work, how to keep from having a fire in your home and neighborhood, and move on to learning how to fight small fires, you can prevent a small fire in your neighborhood. Hopefully you can prevent a small fire in your home or neighborhood, or even place of work. Keep it from destroying everything that you've worked so hard for.